My name is Kayla Rasmussen, and I don't work as a nurse. And so, in order to complete this project, I found a nurse that works in a specialty hospital, and she became my stakeholder. And so, in just trying to come up with a project with her, I discussed with her some of the issues that her unit is experiencing, and one of the major ones she talked about was hand hygiene compliance. The unit is posting numbers in the 30s, and the organization that they're a part of would like them to be as high as 95. And so, obviously, there's lots of room for improvement. And so, she and I came up with some small ways that I can help improve the hand hygiene numbers of this unit. Um, the hospital that she works on is a surgical center, and her unit specifically deals with the preoperative, so getting patients ready for surgery, the PACU or the post anesthesia care unit, waking patients up from surgery, and then the phase 2 or recovery area, which helps patients get ready to go home. And so all the staff that work on any of those three areas sort of rotate depending on the day from where they're at. So all these numbers and everything include those areas. The stakeholders for the project were primarily nurses, just because there's the most of them employee-wise on the unit, and then physicians as well. They had the lowest numbers as far as hand hygiene compliance, and then the other members, the support staff, the patient care technicians, the orderlies, there are nurse practitioners that spend time in the units, and then phlebotomists. And in talking with my stakeholder, we tried to figure out why hand hygiene is such a problem on the unit. And she discussed a couple of reasons. Hand hygiene is reported on the unit by a nurse. It's usually a charge nurse that is given the opportunity to, or the job to document the hand hygiene compliance of the other employees. And so she sort of watches without the other employees knowing that she's watching them. And she sees if they had an opportunity to wash their hands and they didn't take the opportunity, and the employees don't know whether or not they're being compliant. And so they keep getting feedback that they're not washing their hands, but they're not exactly sure when. And then along with that, she said that there are lots of opportunities when sort of the red flag to wash your hands doesn't come up. I think she said that most nurses know you're supposed to wash your hands, between patients and things. But there'll be situations that arise where the nurse doesn't really think she touched another patient or something. The example that she gave was in the PACU. A patient will come back from surgery and be received in the PACU area from the anesthesia team. And all of the nurses that are working in PACU at that time will be a team and help get the patient ready and hooked up to all the correct equipment. And so if a nurse has her own patient, she'll go over to help get this other patient ready to go. And in doing so, she'll put on a pulse ox or put on a blood pressure cuff or hand another nurse another piece of equipment or start the machines or something, all of which are included in the patient area, but the nurse doesn't really feel like she touched the patient. The machines all have been cleaned recently, but then she'll go back to her patient without washing her hands or doing AVOGuard. And that is a missed opportunity to wash your hands, which is killing their numbers. And then the facility isn't physically conducive in that particular area to washing your hands. There's no reminder such as a door or AVOGuard right by the door. And so she said that is probably one of the bigger areas that they can improve on. And so we decided to do some things that will help nurses be aware of when they should be washing their hands when they're missing the opportunity. And then also post some different reminder signs to help them remember to wash their hands. So the goal for the project was to improve hand hygiene compliance percentages on the unit. And the ways we were going to go about doing that was to make the whoops cards some good job cards, because everyone needs to be told they're doing a good job. And then we also thought it would be helpful to create a PowerPoint to present in staff meeting. Just good reminders of why you should wash your hands, patient areas are contaminated, things like that, just to sort of remind nurses how important it is. Because a lot of the patients that this unit sees aren't your sickest of the sick, and so the same need to wash your hands doesn't always come up mentally. And then posting reminder signs. So as I talked about, the way that hand hygiene is documented on the unit is self-documented by a charge nurse. And so these were the numbers that were posted for May and for June. And they were really low. The nurse practitioners were the best at washing their hands, and then the RNs, but their numbers were still in the 70s for May and June, and then downhill from there all the way to the physicians who missed every opportunity that was documented. And so those are the percentages, and so going from there we were trying to go up. And so we made these whoops cards, and the purpose of the whoops card was when the nurse was seen by the secret shopper sort of nurse, not washing her hands when she should have been, a whoops card would be slipped into her charting so that it's a non-public way to say, hey, you missed an opportunity to wash your hands, and so she could think, oh yes, I should have washed my hands there, or be aware that it is a problem. And then a way to go card too is just so that the nurses know that they're being observed doing good things too, because everyone needs to be told they're doing a good job. And then these are the new signages that we made. They just say your hands can be dangerous. Wash them with soap and water to help keep bacteria at bay. And so these are just, they're sort of ugly and they're bright and obnoxious, and so they're just good reminders because sometimes the wash your hands signs that are posted typically on a unit sort of start to blend into the wall. And so these were posted on the unit, and that I have a picture of them posted on the unit. Not a great picture, but they're posted on the unit. And these are one of the ways that my project will remain sustainable is that these will remain posted on the unit indefinitely, and then these will be continued to be used until the numbers have gotten where they need to be. Our nurses are sufficiently aware of the opportunities that they could have washed their hands. And then also the PowerPoint that is made can be kept on hand to be given at other staff meetings with new hires, or as the need again arises, it can be kept on file. And the signs they've seemed to be effective. There hasn't been any huge jumps. The organization's also making bigger changes to improve hand hygiene on the unit just because it is such a big problem. But these little small ways did make a difference, and that is my project. And I'll show you the poster.